Deep in Tumblewood Forest, where the sun always sprinkled gold through the leaves and the flowers hummed when the wind blew, lived a very small mouse named Pippin. Pippin wasn't just any mouse, he was a tailor. He stitched cloaks for hedgehogs, mittens for mole babies, and even hats for the robins, who liked to look dapper in winter. His shop was no bigger than a teacup, with walls lined in acorn shelves and thimble stools for visitors. But though Pippin's paws worked wonders with a needle, he often sighed as he looked out the window at the towering oaks. "I'm so small," he thought. "I can make tiny clothes, but I'll never do anything big." One morning, a commotion rattled the forest. Squirrels chattered, rabbits thumped their feet, and even the owls blinked in broad daylight. A royal messenger, a plump bluebird wearing a crown-shaped badge, fluttered into Pippin's shop. "The Great Oak Festival is in danger," chirped the bird. "The Queen of the Forest has nothing to wear for her grand speech tonight," Pippin squeaked, dropping his spool of thread. "Nothing to wear? But surely the royal wardrobe." "Ruined," the bluebird said. "A sudden rainstorm washed it all away. Can you help?" Pippin's whiskers drooped. "I'm only a tiny tailor. I make vests for voles, not gowns for queens." But the bluebird only fluffed his feathers and said, "Sometimes the smallest paws sow the biggest magic," and zipped off before Pippin could argue. Pippin got to work. He scampered through the forest, gathering silky spider threads, carefully borrowed from friendly spiders, sparkling dewdrops to bead the edges, and flower petals softer than cloud fluff. Along the way, he met his friends. Hazel the hedgehog, who rolled over bramble patches to collect rare purple petals. Nibs the rabbit, who bounced high to fetch moonlit moss from the treetops. Tilly the turtle, who lent her shiny shell as a table so Pippin could cut fabric on a smooth surface. They laughed as they worked. At one point, Nibs got a petal stuck on his nose, and everyone giggled so hard Tilly almost tipped over. "If we keep laughing, we'll never finish," Pippin said, though he couldn't stop chuckling himself. By sunset, the gown was ready. It shimmered with soft gold from pollen dust and glowed faintly like fireflies in twilight. Pippin had stitched it so perfectly, it seemed to breathe with the forest itself. When the Queen of the Forest, a tall, kind-hearted deer, saw the gown, she gasped. This is extraordinary," she said. Pippin twitched his tail nervously. "Do you really think it's good enough?" "Good enough?" The queen lowered her head so she was eye to eye with the tiny mouse. "It's perfect. You've sewn not just thread and petals, but courage and friendship into every stitch." That night at the Great Oak Festival, the queen wore Pippin's gown as she gave her speech under the lantern-lit branches. Animals from every corner of Tumblewood gasped at its beauty. The gown shimmered so brightly it looked like dawn had arrived early. When the queen announced who made it, the crowd erupted into cheers. "Pippin! Pippin! The tiny tailor of Tumblewood!" Pippin's ears turned red. He squeaked so softly that only Hazel heard. "But I'm so small." Hazel nudged him. "Exactly. And still you did something big." From that day on, Pippin never doubted himself again. He learned that size doesn't measure the worth of your heart or your dreams. The smallest paws can leave the biggest footprints, especially if they're brave enough to try. And as for the forest, well, the Great Oak Festival became extra sparkly every year, because Pippin always added just a little more magic thread than necessary.